1 Corinthians 12 through 17. The top of mine says unity and diversity in one body. That's the title above this. And when you think about it, we are to work together, we are as one, but yet we are a diverse group. And everything we do, our fingers don't look like our hands, our feet don't look the same, our eyes, ears, all these parts, and as well, all the parts that function as a body have a difference, but yet they unified together. So we're going to read 12 through 17. For as the body is one and has many members, but all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Christ. For there is one Spirit, we were all baptized into one body, whether Jews or Greeks, whether slaves or free, and have all been made to drink into one Spirit. So I was talking about every person is born again who gets baptized into the body of Christ. For in fact the body is not one member, but many. If the foot should say, because I am not a hand, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? And if the ear should say, because I'm not an eye, I'm not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? If the whole body were an eye, where would be the hearing? If the whole were hearing, where would be the smelling? That sounds real like comparison things, doesn't it? We're always looking, what's this, what's that? But 18 is a key verse. It says, but now God has set the members, each one of them into the body just as he pleased. And so this would be just like a core thing. It's real easy to see what somebody else is doing, and maybe you like, it can be the attention they get. That all depends, like Marvin, the less attention, the better for him. But, a tendency of the flesh can be, but I want to be noticed. I want to be seen. And that's just one of the things that, knowing this verse 18, that he set every person, or he gifted every person, he called every person according to his plan. And the magnitude of it sometimes amazes me that, for some people you listen to, it's like, oh, God, get us out of here. Well, we're in the most exciting time there is. Yes. We're in the wrap-up time. Yes. We're going to see things, and even though New York City, stuff like that, junk's going on, but we're at a time that if we're doing what we're called to do, and we're allowing our gifting to flow, this is going to be the best time in the world for us. Yeah. And we are operating in such a place that this is going to set the pace for what you do in heaven. How you operate down here is going to set you for heaven. So, it talks about all the different parts. It's vital. There isn't anything. I said to somebody, I forgot who it was. It was Kathy Huff. I just had a little, like a hangnail thing right here. And I said, do you know that little tiny place, but when I went to write, it hurt every time I went to write. That part made my whole body aware, oh, God, that hurts, And so we all need to be doing our parts so that we function together. And you may know this, I know some of you do because I've talked about it in Bible study, but if you don't know, it's a great thing to know. Just like your brain is so intricate. And the front part of your brain is the part that when the scientists hook you up, it lights up when you speak. That's your speech center is right here. But they found that on the side, when you pray in tongues, that side lights up. But it's the only thing that lights up on that little part is when you pray in tongues. Isn't that magnificent? Wow. That God is so intricate on everything that he does. So if he's intricate about that, 1 Peter 4:2. As each one has received a gift. So how many? Each one has. That's past tense, right? So everybody has received a gift. Minister it to one another as good stewards of the manifold grace of God. So everybody has a gift, and that gift in you is to help others. That's the whole point of that gift. Jesus said to his disciples, I came to serve. Well, really we are. Some people may have a little harder time seeing that from that angle. If they're not in certain things they're gifted in, they might want to be served all the time. But predominantly, every ministry gift is to serve. It's to serve other people. It's to help in something. It's to make the function of Jesus' body work. And so as we do that, let's look at Ephesians 4. verse 4. In Romans 12:3. There is one body and one Spirit, just as you were called in one hope of your calling. One Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is above all and through it all, and in you all. But to each one of us grace was given according to the measure of Christ's gift. So we all know, we found out at first, he designed you for a certain function in the body of Christ. And then we know that he set your time, what you're supposed to do. Each person has a gift. But he also says, now I have given you a grace to operate that gift. And that is probably not more important, but equally as important, that there is a grace to help you. And so grace is the ability to do. So he has not only called us or put a gift in us, but he has also put a grace in us for that gift to operate. And so that is so vital for us to be able to minister. Even sometimes, you say, oh, so-and-so, they're just so gifted in that. Well, they probably are, but they probably are gifted and graced by God to do what that was. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things about the gifting and the grace working together is that's an easement for you to do whatever it is. And when I remember this years ago, I heard Kenneth Copeland say to a pastor, I can't believe you, oh no, it's the reverse. What he said, the pastor said to Kenneth Copeland, I can't believe you travel all the time. You're staying in different hotels all the time. I couldn't stand that lifestyle. And Kenneth Copeland said, I couldn't stand to stay in one place all the time like you are. Well, that's two opposite callings operating there. And so God graced the pastor to stay in one place, and he graced the teacher or preacher, apostle, whatever, to have a grace to travel. Mm-hmm. And it is a grace to travel. If you travel and have to do things, whatever it is, and that's so important that we have that grace. Let's look at Romans 12:3-8. Having then gifts differing according to the grace that's given us, let us use them. So as we use them, as we practice them. Then verse 7, or ministry, let us use it in our ministry. He who teaches in teaching, he who exhorts in exhortation, he who gives with liberality, he who leads with diligence, he who shows mercy with cheerfulness. So this lists several different things that's part of things that people are gifted with. Mm-hmm. So giving is one of these. One other thing about giving is probably a giver, one who's gifted a giver, has ability, a grace to make money. Because if you're going to be a giver, you're going to have an ability to make money, to give. Mm-hmm. And so if you're exhorting someone, it's someone who's always encouraging people. It says, they had gathered together, some prophets, teachers had gathered together. They were praying. They had been fasting. And verse 2 says, as they ministered to the Lord and fasted, the Holy Spirit said, now separate to me Barnabas and Saul for the work to which I have called them. Then having fasted and prayed, they laid hands on them and sent them out. So sometimes there is a laying on hands of certain callings and things that people have hands laid on them for, usually the fivefold ministry. I don't know what it wouldn't be good to have it even on the helps ministry, because they need as much anyway. But that's a part of it. But when Barnabas, this wasn't like at the very start of his life. And so this is usually a promotion when they had fasted and prayed. But if you also notice that they ministered to the Lord, they fasted, they prayed, they positioned themselves to be used of God as much as other things. So let's look at 2 Corinthians 6:1. We then, as workers together with him, also plead with you not to receive the grace of God in vain. How many of you remember the story where there was talents handed out, 5 talents, 2 talents, 1 talent? And the one that had 1 talent, what did he do with his?
Buried it.
Didn't do anything, did he? Was the master upset?
Yes.
Okay, now could we turn around and take that in what we are gifted in, what we are called to do? Mm-hmm. It says, as workers together with him, also plead with you not to receive the grace in vain. And so there's no point in having gifts and not doing anything with it. And so as we seek God, as we just, find out what your gifting is, if you already know, if you don't. But what I've thought of it is, it's just like a church, because we can relate a church, or whatever you're having. So if you have a church and you have things going on and you're having a fellowship dinner, but nobody's going to clean up afterwards. Well, it just leaves things in a mess. So those are simple things that we understand, we see. Well, we know we're just not going to do that. But in the spiritual realm, sometimes it's just we don't see things as clear, and we think, now what is my part? Am I doing my part? And so we want to do that. And then also I wanted just to mention, and Vicky may cover some of this too, a lot of things that you're gifted in is things that has been working in you. It's already been working. Some things were gifted in you when you were born. Some things come later. But I remember Marvin's dad didn't get saved till he was 83. But he had a gift that operated in him, even though he didn't use it for the Lord, didn't know. But he would just know things about people. We was at where they were at one time, and there was another couple with us, and this woman was dressed neat, had her hair combed, everything. And he said to her later, he said, she's got a messy house, doesn't she? And I said, that's true. You can hardly walk through it. And you could not have told a thing about it when you saw her. But he had a gift.
That's crazy.
But because he didn't get saved, that gift didn't get utilized for the Lord. Marvin also has a lot of that same gift operating. We were walking through when we were at church, at Glorious Church one time, and when we got ready to leave, he said, Beth Lucas, Beth's gonna have a baby. And I said, oh, who told you? Oh, I just know it. Well, then my daughter called me a week or two later and said, guess what? I said, what? Marty and Beth's gonna have a baby. And I said, I know. She said, well, you couldn't know. They just told me. I said, well, your dad knew it. but you see, some things can function.
Right.
But if it's used for God's benefit and to help things, now that's just a knowing. But there's been things that we've talked about or something's come up and he said, that's just not the right, we just can't do that. Because that gifting is stirring in him not to do. So one of the things I remember, a few of you know who Bob and Kathy Dickerson are. And they went to Russia to tutor the renters' boys, and they had 3 boys when they moved over there. And so Bob tutored them as a teacher. And I remember them saying that Joel, the youngest, loved math, was exceptionally good in math and different things. Well, even as a kid, he was good in something that God was going to use him in later. Now he is the manager, overseer of all the renter ministries in Russia and the U.S. But that gift was already functioning to a degree as he's growing up. And so I just think it's amazing. And then a lady that when I went to Mozambique, she fed orphans. A lot of them were with foster mothers, but some was just an orphanage, but most of them was foster mothers and in different villages. And so, but when she was in the United States, she grew up on a ranch in Texas. So she loved farming stuff. So she went to college and took agriculture classes and stuff. And then midstream, after a while she did that, she said she just had this desire to go to nursing school. So she went to nursing school. Well, she gets over there, and then when she goes to Mozambique, she's buying food from all these different places to feed orphans. And when they get malaria or whatever, she knows what they need to when they need to go to the hospital, they don't need, she can doctor or whatever. But she said, I had no clue growing up, in college, that God was preparing me for what was coming. And so, and then Hannah, our granddaughter Hannah, some of you know, she was just always a very compassionate person, kind of for the underdog, just a very compassionate person. Well, now she does personal counseling and things, but she was always calm, always steady, whereas Kana was, so she just thought, Kana was the excitement of the room, and Hannah was the stability of the room. And so you see different things in people so you could begin to recognize some things. So I told Vicky last night, I said, I have to tell this story because whenever you do these tests and stuff, what's your motivational gift, I took it several times. Always my top one is serving. That's my top one. Every time I take the test, I think, Now, I'm gonna put that out of my mind. I'm just gonna fill this out again. Sorry. So, anyway, you got it. So anyway, see, I had the best time just getting everything ready for you guys to come today.
But you like it. You like it.
I do, but see, I'm graced to that. I love it. Somebody else is saying, "Good land, you gotta fix food. Let's just order something." You know, I mean, that's how your gifting. That's how gifting's different in the body.